possibility that I'm in pregnancy. Therefore, we wanted to make sure that we bring things like this together so you can get all of the information. So, my name is Dr. Maya Dominique. This is Dr. Courtney Topasa. This also happens to be my first cousin. So my dad, and her mother are brothers and sisters. And since we have been young kids, we always wanted to be physicians, not knowing that we were both going to be OBGYNs. So we do everything we can to make sure you're taken care of. So what we're going to do, I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about maternal morbidity, mortality, about obstetrics. And then after our segment, you guys have a few questions and answers. We'll make sure. And then I have a menopausal expert that'll come up here and talk to you guys about gynae issues like abnormal uterine bleeding. A lot of women deal with fibroids. We'll talk about that. And also a little bit about menopause. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Okay. I was in private practice for 5.5 years, and then I decided to do some travel work. So I'm doing travel doctoring, practice doctoring. And we are very passionate about helping women decrease their risk in pregnancy, as well as decreasing the risk after pregnancy, because the risk cannot stop. They continue to postpartum. And so really happy to be here and talk to you guys, and happy to be part of this.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Courtney. And she'll just call me probably Maya in a second, just because that's just how we know each other. So, one question I wanted to ask her is, if you could say one thing that you want your patients to know when they come in to just talk with you about their pregnancy. Say you meet a patient, she's 6 weeks pregnant. What is just give these women some things that you just wish that you've seen have been just sort of a space that women just don't know, that you wish that maybe they would know a little bit more about?
Absolutely. There's so many things, but I think the biggest thing, especially at the initial prenatal visit, is that we are partners in your care. Okay? There's a lot of stigma around providers, physicians, midwives, nurse practitioners, and we're in this together. And so as a physician, I want women to know you deserve to be heard, you deserve to be comfortable with your provider. You have the right to not speak up and to change that person. You don't have to necessarily stick with the same doctor, midwife, or practitioner if you're not comfortable. But that there are risks that are involved in pregnancy that we want to educate our women on. So they're aware of high blood pressure, diabetes, our diet can affect our pregnancies. It can affect what can happen when you have a C-section or you have a vaginal delivery. So I think those are a good overview of things that I wish patients would know about.
I like that. I like that you said that we're all together, right? And that there are different providers that also work with us, right? So tell me, what are your thoughts about midwives and doulas? Do you see the importance of midwives and doulas? And tell me why you believe that they're important in care.
Absolutely. I think I've worked with as many midwives just because of the hospitals that I've worked at, and I haven't worked with midwives. I do think that they provide a more holistic approach to delivery and prenatal care. Doulas as well. I work with several doulas, and I think they're really good people to have in place as an advocate for patients. Sometimes patients aren't comfortable talking to their doctors about, hey, I don't like this, you have this going on. Can you explain this to me? And not being doctor about me, we definitely explain everything to our patients very thoroughly. But there are some physicians that don't take the time to do that, unfortunately. And so if you really can step in and say, hey, what about this, or what about that, or can you consider this or that? So I think we are all different parts of the healthcare system and nurse practitioners as well, and are all vital because all of us can provide different things to different women in different ways.
So say the patient doesn't feel comfortable with her doctor. How can she approach a doctor and say, I don't really feel comfortable? And what advice would you give her, even if the doctor was sort of rude and just sort of made her feel bad? What would you say to empower her in her pregnancy that she knows that okay to stand up for yourself.
I think it is hard because there is this unwritten, almost hierarchy or stigma that you're not approachable or we're going to tell you what to do and not listen. That is absolutely not true. So if the issue with the physician, she has the right to go to the office manager or the desk staff and request a transfer of care. Most physicians, may want to know why or may not. But as the patient, she has the right to advocate for herself and have autonomy over her care. So I would say she's not comfortable talking to the physician, maybe go to the office manager and see what that can do.
Yeah, you bring up a good point because even when I'm trying to receive care, sometimes it's so hard to get where you need to get. It almost feels like sometimes it's no shade to anybody, but sometimes it's like the people at the front desk can just stop you from getting where you need to get in, and they're not going to do something for you, but you get stopped. So how do you tell a patient to advocate for themselves or even their partners? Because we're so glad to see that people are not here alone. How do you tell someone to advocate for themselves? And if they're not getting the answer, what types of things can they do to sort of maneuver through this really complex healthcare system?
So it's not directly with the physician. I said it to your physician because at the end of the day, that's your caretaker. But if it's, I agree with you, there are some times at front desk, even with us as physicians, where we don't get what we need. And so you have the right to escalate to the next step, which is going to be the office manager. And usually office managers are well versed on dealing with adversity or difficulties and things like that, and they can direct you to the right person.
That makes sense. So just remember, you guys have another step. If you don't get to the first step, you go to the next step. So before we start more of the Q&A with the audience, tell me some myths that you've seen on Facebook. I love social media. I think social media has really gotten the word out. I think the reason why so many people are in this space today is because of social media. But tell me some things that you see that are just not true. I think one of the things that I see is about Pitocin. Do not let your doctor use Pitocin, which sometimes to me makes me cringe because yes, if you come in natural labor and you're contracting and everything's beautiful, of course, I wouldn't even use Pitocin. But what about the patient that has been ruptured for 2 days and she's been listening online not to use Pitocin, but she doesn't realize the risk that she's putting her baby at? So tell me some of the myths that you've seen and how have you supported your patients or what would you say to these patients here in order to make a difference for them so they know what to believe and what not to believe?
I love the myths because I feel like that's the majority of my visit discussion is the myths. So piggyback off Pitocin. Pitocin is the synthetic form of our natural hormone, oxytocin. Okay? So even if you don't get Pitocin, oxytocin is at work in your body. Sometimes our bodies are not strong enough yet to get into a pattern to change your cervix. So you need a little bit of Pitocin. It is not evil. It is a great drug. It is used appropriately. Sometimes it's not always evil. Okay? Two, that doctors do C-section at dinner so we can go home. No.
Well, maybe not you, but I would say that there are some doctors that do.
I'm talking about me, okay? She and I are all going to C-section. Absolutely have to. You have for C-section, we're going to have a kid. Okay? I'm saying. But I'm not going to say, all right, well, my hair done. Let me go do the C-section. Like I'm a baby, right? Always fight for vaginal uterus. That's always the goal. Third thing, my mucus plug came out. I'm in labor. Not true. The mucus plug is not signifying me. Okay? TikTok tells you that. It's not. Okay? Just your cervix, you started as opposed to the hormones. Those are my things.
Got it. Okay. Let me think if I can think of any myths that I've seen. One thing that I don't think necessarily is a myth, but we worry about some things that I feel that are not. They could be issues, but I think the other things that we do are even worse, right? So there's this big thing out about Tylenol, right? And I get it. We don't really know exactly when we put these drugs in our bodies everything that they're doing, right? So if you can find natural ways to support your pain and things like that, what I don't get is the same people that don't want to take Tylenol eat McDonald's. The same people that don't want to take Tylenol smoke weed. I'm just a little confused. How do you put things right? Like, and even yourself, how do you take care of yourself so you can take care of these other women? Like, what are the joys that you get that keeps you coming back? Because we stay up 24 hours taking care of women, but how do you take care of yourself in order to take care of women? And how are you joyous to do this every day?
I think the biggest thing was transitioning to the travel work that we're doing. It gives me more autonomy over my time. I sleep so much more now. I exercise so much more now. Spend more time with family and friends. With the joys, I say this all the time in all my countries. Of course, we don't do it really, but my favorite part of delivering a baby is watching the dad. That's just been my thing. So every time I deliver a baby, I turn to dad and my dad's crying or emotional, like it really warms my heart. It's kind of like at a wedding. Everybody goes to the bride and then too. But it's the joy that I'm able to get parents that keeps me going. It is a very hard job. We're very tired and overworked, sometimes underpaid for all that goes into this career. But it's very, 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 very rewarding, and I love going to get
If there was any last minute things that you would like to share with these women out here that just, that you would just like people to know, what would be some last things that we would say before we go to our questions?
I would say that you are important. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to have the type of care that you should be providing. And if you're not getting that, I really, really, really implore you to speak up to yourself. Because everybody is not treating their patients like myself and Dr. Dominique does. This fair is a testament to the care that she's providing this community. And so if you're ever feeling like you're not getting what you need or what you deserve, I really want you to see it. And that we are here to help and be a partner in your care. As physicians, we midwives, and our practitioners. And then I just, it really bothers me when a patient comes to me and I know them are doing care for them. So just have to be yourself.
One more thing, sorry, I just thought about. What about that early care? Why is it so important for women to start getting their care early, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks? Like, my mom that has like 4 kids, she's like, it's my 5th one. Like, I don't even know. Like, tell me more about a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So 6 to 8 weeks is really important to start your care once you have a proper native pregnancy. Okay? Most women, in this period, you may not know unless you're tracking a period. You may not know the first day of your last period. And that's what's most important to nature pregnancy. You don't show up until 25 weeks and get ultrasound. You can't say that it's exactly that. Right? On top of that, there's care that we provide as early as 6 to 8 weeks to, like I said, nature pregnancy, genetic testing, ultrasound, we can intervene in morning sickness, nausea, vomiting, all of those things. So it's really, really, really important to start. If you don't start early, it's not the end of the world. Just start as soon as you can.
Well, this has been great. Thank you so much, Dr. Tabitha. It is so great to sit here with her and us at this point in our lives be able to, so what we're going to go to now is we're going to go to just the questions. Please give us your questions. No question is like a dumb question. Like every question is so important because you never know. Like I just learned some stuff from her today. You never know what someone might learn. I know who got a question there, right there. Come on, that's my patient. Girl, come on. Yes. I delivered that baby right there.
Where can we find doulas close to Gary or America? Because I didn't realize there's like one at my job. I was like, how did I know about it?
So, if you look around, out of the 90-something resources that are here, there are doulas that work in Gary and Maryville here. So if you look at your map and you look at doula services, you will see where they're located in their tables around here. We have actual doulas in this place here today. And so that is the importance. Did I have a doula raise their hand? Oh, I thought I had a doula raise their hand. Okay, never mind. So that is also the invisible resource for the public.
That was quick.
Right? It's right here, right here. So that's why I believe putting these types of events All right, we got another question?
We have another question, right?
So, what are some natural or risky ways to put yourself into labor, and what should you start trying now?
Okay.
That's a really good question. So, like we talked about early Pitocin, you can naturally stimulate Pitocin. So, intercourse helps. Sorry, children. Nipple stimulation, right? You don't have to do it yourself, your partner can do it. Are more natural ways. I'm sure you've heard about the cat, witch's brew, TikTok blender. Usually what that does is make you have diarrhea. And so then you become dehydrated and you go into labor. We don't really recommend that because you can get really sick. But those are two really good ways to also walking, exercise, all those things can help.
There are like red raspberry teas, but I talk to my patients, and when you don't see like their midwife or you don't see your doctor, they can start to feel your cervix. In that 36 weeks, your cervix is like extremely hard. It's your first baby. I may start telling you to do things early because what we don't want is you to have an early baby. But typically around 37 weeks, you can go ahead and start, right? Orgasms like that is going to stimulate oxytocin. If you don't want your partner necessarily to touch your nipples, you can use your breast pump. So you can start pumping early. But I think the most important thing she said is movement. Walking. You can also go on YouTube. I use YouTube. Look at labor-inducing exercises. They have so many different things. I tell my moms, instead of sitting on the couch watching TV, get on your ball. Get on your ball, go to Five Below, and they have balls there, or birthing balls, get on Amazon. Get on your ball, start moving your hips, opening up your hips. So those are definitely some things.
Wonderful. We have another question here.
Say that again. So if you're too old, you're never really, I guess, too old to have a baby because the uterus is a muscle that actually works and will hold a baby. That's why you see, I think in India there was like a 70-year-old woman. But your body naturally will stop allowing you to have babies after you stop having periods. So once you stop having periods, that means you have no more eggs that are functioning to have allow you to have a baby. Now there are different interventions that we can use, such as in vitro fertilization, those types of things. And then you also should know the later you have a baby, the more risk that could be associated with having a baby. But it's really no answer when you're too old because you're a woman and you have all of the organs that take, all you need is a uterus and good blood supply to get to a uterus. So you could put, I could put an embryo inside and you can just come out your uterus and you might be able to have a baby. Now, as far as the strength that you need,
I just asked your husband, is he ready to have a baby brother? I just asked your husband, is he ready to have a baby brother?
that's his mother, so that's my mother-in-law. So it looks like she's trying to have a baby, y'all. She talking about when is it too old to have a baby. Oh, we got another doula in the back. I got another doula that walked up. There's doulas all around here, y'all. This particular doula, Hoosier Doula Network, they have doulas all around Hoosier, right? Indiana? Around Indiana, this area. That's why I brought her in here. So yes, there's doulas everywhere.
We have another question.
How many C-sections can a woman have that how many C-sections?
That's a hard question.
Okay, so we talked about that a little bit before. So let me back it up a little bit. When you have one C-section, depending on the indication, it doesn't mean you have to have a second one. You can have what's called a VBAC, or vaginal birth after C-section. After you have had two C-sections, then ACOG, our OBGYN Bible, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, does not recommend a woman to try to have a vaginal birth. I have done, and Dr. Dominique can speak to it too, how many you've done. I've done a woman's either fifth or sixth C-section, and it is very dangerous. We do not recommend it. I definitely don't recommend going over 6, but if you continue to maybe past 3 or 4, I'd say.
So I would say yes. I would say I'm the doctor that does not do. You have 2 C-sections. I don't do vaginal birth after C-section. But you can. She doesn't. You can though. And yeah, no, she doesn't do it. I don't. But you like I'm saying, with a woman, even if she has 2, I know some physicians that will do it. And you can attempt. But you gotta think about why did you get 2 C-sections and now you want to attempt. The reason why I don't is because I always think if the mom needs that baby to come out in a minute, you gotta get this baby out in a minute. And you had 2 C-sections, I gotta go through all that stuff. Like, and I'm by myself. I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for that. We just need the baby to come out safe and the mom to be safe. But another thing that I think about is I have these moms that are not healthy with 3 C-sections, 4 C-sections. And I've had women that have had 5 C-sections and it has not been that difficult. But they've been my more healthier women that take care of themselves. But you talking about when you eat all this processed food and you're in this really like not, really you don't really create a really healthy environment, you create a lot of scar tissue. And that just creates a lot of problems. So one thing I want to talk about tubal ligations. If you're thinking about not having any more babies, while we're talking about all those C-sections, please don't. If you are thinking about not having a baby ever again, if you're on your 5th C-section and you want to not have a baby, let them do it while you're already open. Like you don't want to go for another surgery. Now, are there other ways to not have kids? There's birth control, of course. But you just have to think about it, right? And so know that also there's paperwork that also has to be filled out. So you can't just come to the office and it's time to have a baby, 5th C-section, like I don't want to more take my tubes. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. And if you stop by my table, Prenatal Well, we have the top 10 questions to ask your physicians. And one of those includes, in the hospital that you deliver at, do they do tubal ligations? Because I've had some women show up at St. Catherine, which is a Catholic hospital. I cannot touch your fallopian tubes. And you're open, and then you have to have a whole another surgery. So, any more questions? No more questions. Everybody knows everything, right, about their babies. Y'all feel comfortable? Okay. So we're about to transition. I want to say thank you to my sponsors. We've got Methodist that's helped all of these gifts and all this. Methodist, Youngblood, Youth Development Home. This is my sister. She owns 2 group homes in Topeka, Kansas that helps young men. We also have Care Source. We have Miriam. We have North Shore. And so did I miss any? Houston? Did I miss any? I want to make sure I don't miss somebody. Yep. Legacy, that's my last one. Yep, I did that. And I also, there are important people here, and everyone here is important, but it says something when you have individuals that make decisions about our lives in the room. And I just want to say thank you because the mayor of Gary, his wife is here. So I see her over there, so I just wanted to say thank you for coming to support. It means so much when the people that make decisions about our lives show up and show that they care. Even though this event is in Maryville, I know a lot of y'all live in Gary because I know it's where a lot of my patients are from. And I started my clinic in Gary. And it's just so important that we go to those areas. I'm trying to get this back into Gary now. I really am what we did last year. But I just wanted to say thank you to her for showing up, for being here. So we're going to make a quick transition, and next, who's coming up is going to be our gynecologist. I had so many women asking me. I got menopause, I'm having hot flashes, I'm having this, I'm having that. And so fibroids, bleeding, all those types of things. So just give us about 2 to 3 minutes so we can transition. And then if anybody wants to hear about menopause, perimenopause, uses on you when you are bleeding heavy, that we do different things like local short mountains. Dr. Ramsey, Keith Ramsey, who has been an OBGYN for over 30 years, he is here to answer any of your questions. He does a lot of things with incontinence and pelvic floor dysfunction, so he's there at his table. And so we're going to bring up Dr. Ashley Scott soon. She is a board certified OBGYN who also is certified in menopause care. So she's opening up her own clinic very soon, and we actually used to work together. We trained together at Mercy Hospital in Chicago. So just give us a second, and we'll be bringing it up. So thank you so much for your support.